move along to one of those teams remaining in the 4. The Duke Blue Devils, incredibly polarizing, very dominant, as we mentioned just before.
Hold on. Are they as polarizing this year? Don't you feel like they are a more likable team and program in general since Coach K is gone? Like, how do you not root for what Jon Scheyer is doing, the guy after the guy who's considered the GOAT in college basketball, to take a team to the Final Four in year 3? He's a really likable guy. Like, you and I talk about how much we like him and how we followed his entire career and got to know him as a young coach. Like, to me, this is a different Duke team where I feel like my entire social media field is like, why don't I hate him? Why don't I hate Duke? I'm used to hating Duke. Maybe they're not as polarizing.
There's a certain team that you spent the fall covering at the NBC desk that they have shades of.
I think so.
Notre Dame football and obviously what Coach Marcus Freeman's done there. And yeah, I agree with you. The polarization has worn off because collectively everybody's like, these guys are easy to root for. A mega star in Cooper Flagg. I had a chance to talk to him and spend time with him in Newark. Very easy to root for, very composed, mature beyond his years. I've known John for decades now. It's fun to see him the ripe age of 37, getting to his first Final Four, taking over for an icon in Coach K is no easy task. And here he is. But, back to that great point you made about them and the Duke hate not really being there. I even asked Coach Jon Scheyer about it in Newark. And I said, how's it feel to coach for a program that people either really love you or they kind of hate you? And he goes, I don't really hear that noise much anymore. He's like, maybe I'm so far past it from my playing days that edge is worn off. It's not noise anymore. So you're right. Maybe that is a thing of the past. But one thing that is certainly a thing of the present is they're dominant. Is it Duke versus the field, Nicole?
I think it is. After you watch these teams, it feels like that team is a cut above the rest.
Yeah.
What they were able to do to an Alabama team that can just destroy you with a 3-ball, with any offensive scoring, right? They're coming off a game where they scored over 100 points and your defense clamps down on them so much. I think that was just a statement made about that end of the floor, because we already talk about Cooper Flagg. We already talk about the way that this team scores, how hard they are to stop, how talented they are. But they are a little bit underrated defensively. And obviously, Ken Pom would tell you that both sides of the ball are really, really good for this team. But I think watching it in action against an Alabama team that we have seen just light it up against some of the other very good teams in college basketball was a different level. And to your point earlier, they did not struggle. They didn't barely broke a sweat to get to the Final Four. All the other top teams at least were tested. But they just feel a little bit, I'm not going to say like UConn last year entirely, where that might have been like an all-time great college basketball team, but they really weren't tested en route to winning a national championship. I would not be shocked, as much as I want these games to be great in San Antonio, if it turns out that Duke was a cut above the rest and is able to win convincingly. I will say Houston is a team that does not get blown out easily. They have not lost by more than 5 points all season. 3 of their losses were in overtime. So maybe, that idea of them coasting is going to be put to the test here against another great defensive team that can shoot better than we're used to seeing Houston teams. But man, I'm in love with the Duke team. I think they're just so good, so talented. Every time I watch them, I think that's the best team in college basketball.
Yeah, you know what is interesting, Nicole, is the conversation's already starting prematurely indeed. Whenever I hear it, is this Duke team one of the all-time great teams? I do believe Florida is a very dangerous threat to them, because I watched Florida in the SEC championship. You know how I feel about them. As for Duke and Houston, and that matchup for Duke to even get to a title game, that's going to be incredibly physical. And people say, well, yeah, of course, because it's Houston. Well, no, because it's Duke as well. And I was on hand. I was front row right there doing the radio side of the broadcast, watching Duke. And what stood out to me with this Duke team is they're big, they're long, and they are physical. And physical in spots that you don't typically talk about. Cooper Flagg as a wing is wildly physical. Con Knipple as a guard is stout, uses his body, has that big posterior, and gets it into guys to create space, plays with an intensity. If Con Knipple didn't play with Cooper Flagg, Con Knipple would be the talk of college basketball. His shine gets dimmed just a little bit playing with a megastar like Cooper Flagg, but those guys together are a lot. And Malawatch down low. Come on, Malawatch.
Difference maker.
Total difference maker. I mean, look, he's not Zach Edey level, but he's not far off. At 7'2", how he moves, how he gets up and down the floor. I mean, the alley-oop option for them offensively is something that they attack often and are very successful with. You mentioned the efficiency on both sides of the ball. Duke is top 5 in offensive and defensive efficiency. This group just has counters. How they defended Mark Sears and took away the 3. You heard Oates say this is what we tried to do, but then they did this, and then we tried to do this, but then there was another counter. This is an elite coach in Coach John Shire that is well above his years as a head coach. And for me, this Duke team is focused. The inflection points, that's all I talked about during the Newark run in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 game. They don't get down to late game situations because at that inflection point of a game, they distance themselves. I liken it to a reference of being ahead of the sticks for a team offensively in football. That is truly what this Duke team is. So as I look at it, I think they're in great position. But Nicole, I really hope we get Florida and Duke.